Assalamu alaikum, guys. Good morning. Inshallah, you've had a restful weekend, and yesterday's assignment was easy. It was just a review of a previous lesson we had done. So today we're dealing with inequality still. The difference between the inequalities before, you were just proving to see or testing to see if an inequality would be a true statement or not based on given values. Today you are learning how to write inequalities. You have to pay attention to the vocab, and then you're also learning how to graph inequalities properly. So let's start with our inequalities and what kind of words we can see when we are exposed to real world situations. So remember, this is the greater than sign. Now, words that you can see would be, or read rather, would be over or more than. Above would be another word. So it's not only limited to these words that I'm giving you, but I'm giving you an example. And then you have less than. In less than, you will see words such as under, no more than, okay? And then for greater than or equal to, minimum, and at least. Those are two words or two terms that you will see. And then less than or equal to, maximum, and at most. Now, the thing about these inequalities, guys, is that there is a certain way that you have to graph them, all right? There's a correct way and an incorrect way. So a graph for greater than on a number line, of course, I'm not giving you any numerical values right now, but I'm giving you an example of what you can see. So assume that this is a number line. We're talking about greater than, and notice that greater than does not have a line under it. So whenever you find the numerical value, all you do is draw a circle, okay? And then since it's saying greater than, remember greater than is anything to the right. So then what you would do is you would shade, and you have to show me the direction that it's going, and you have to also darken the arrow at the end, all right? So you circle, and then you draw which way, to the right or to the left, and make sure that you darken an arrow. Now, one of the common mistakes that kids will do, they will just darken whichever way it's going, and they don't darken the arrow. Now, in math, that means something, that you're limiting the distance of where the solutions are. By darkening the arrow, you're saying, Missy, then my answer is indefinitely to the right of the number line. My answer is indefinitely to the left of the number line, okay? So when it's not underlined, you just draw a circle because it does not include that value. Now on less than, same thing. You will draw a circle. However, less than means anything to the left. Any number to the left of that value would be making the inequality true. So darken, and I need to be able to see, guys, the difference between which way you're going and which way it's not going, okay? So don't be afraid to draw that arrow dark, all right? Now for greater than or equal to, remember it's one of either of two conditions. So the graph on these, since it's underlined, that means that it includes the value that you're graphing out. So let's assume that our value is here. You will have to actually shade in a circle, okay? And anything to the right. What does the shading of the circle mean? That it includes the value. Anytime you have an underlined inequality, okay? Underlined inequality, that means that it includes the value that you're starting at. And the same thing is true for less than or equal to. So your graph would start at the given value or the solution, okay, one of the solutions, and then indefinitely anything to the left. All right, now I do take off points if you do not darken the arrow. So make sure that you're telling me, Missy Dunn, it's going this way or it's going that way. So remember, the ones that are not underlined, draw a circle, and then either to the right or to the left of the number line. The ones with the underlined, because it includes the value, darken the circle, and then either to the right or to the left. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to go ahead and start with real world problems. So I'm just going to cover this, and here we go. So you might, I'm not sure if you were able to see the bottom. I can see it a little bit, but I think you should still be okay and be able to handle it. So the instructions are write an inequality for each condition or constraint. Condition or constraint is you have to pay attention to the terms that you're being given, to the statement, the way it's being said, and how the constraint means what are your limits, you know? Do you have a minimum, a maximum, more than, above, below, all right? So let's get started. It costs more than $6 to ride the train. It costs more than $6 to ride the train. So first of all, you need to come up with a variable. It's not asking you to define a variable, but just in case, whenever you do take a test or a quiz, just make sure that you're reading, you know. I could have said, go ahead and define. I'm not asking you to define today. So I'm gonna go to it because we're talking about cost. I'm gonna go ahead and write C as cost, all right? So C, now it says more than $6. So I know my value is going to be 6. More than means greater than, right? So then my inequality is greater than. Would it include 6? No, because it said more than 6. So this is my inequality. It's that easy, guys, okay? Now, right here, the motorbike weighs at least 400 pounds. So I'm going to be talking about weight. I'm going to choose the variable W, okay? Now, it says at least. So question yourself, is it greater than 400? It is greater than 400. Can it equal 400? And if the answer is yes to that, and if you don't know your terms, go back to the list that I gave you on the vocabulary. So at least means that it can be more than, but it can also equal 400 pounds, okay? So here's my inequality. Now the next thing is a child must be maximum 12 years old for the discount. A child must be maximum. Maximum means you cannot be over. You can be 12 years old, but you cannot be over 12 years old. So since we're talking about the age, I'm going to choose A. You can choose, obviously, you can choose any variable. You can choose X. You can use C for child. Up to you, okay? I'm going to use A. Now, it says must be maximum. That means they have to be less than, but they can also equal exactly 12 years old. So that's my inequality. That's how easy this lesson is, guys. Now, let's go to the next part. All right. The next part is represent each inequality on a number line. So all you're doing is you're going to be given an example, and then you're going to graph that example. Okay. So let's say, for example, I give you x is less than or equal to -9. Okay. All you have to do is draw a number line. And in this case, I usually put my middle term, or rather my term in the middle. And then don't forget, especially with the negatives, the order of the numbers, okay? Remember, we're going from 0 to the left, -8, -9, 10. Now remember, this is underlined. The inequality is underlined, and it's -9. So what's the first thing I need to do? I need to shade and include the 9 as part of my solution. And then it's anything less than that. All right, so I'm going to darken. And don't forget to darken your arrow. And that should tell me enough. That's the solutions are from -9, including -9, indefinitely to the left. Okay? So next example, I'm going to give you y is greater than or equal to 33. Okay? So again, draw your number line. And I've told you in the past too that I don't need, so many values on a number line. As long as I have 3, if you want to put 4 or 5, it's okay as well. So my middle term, 33, 34 on that, and then 32. Remember, it's underlined, therefore I have to include the 33. I darken it, And it's saying anything greater than or equal to 33. I included 33. Now all I have to do is make sure that I shade. And don't forget, guys, these ones, please do them by hand. Don't do them by typing it, because it might mess it up for you, your answer. All right, so that would be it for that. Then one more example. What if I gave you something like y is greater than 3/5? So how are we going to graph fractions on a number line? Guys, it's very easy. Here we go. Here is your graph, or rather your number line, right? My term in the middle, I'm going to label it as 3/5. My next term over is 4/5. My term before is 2/5. You don't have to do more than that. And the same thing would work for decimals as well. You can do it by decimals as well. You can do number lines by 5s. You can do it by 10s, up to you. So this one is not underlined, therefore I just draw a circle. I don't shade it, okay? And then it said anything greater than 3/5. Therefore, from right here, this point right here, I darken and I shade. So the first part of your assignment, guys, is to go ahead and write inequalities like we did in real world. Second part of your worksheet will be to graph inequalities based on a given value. Now, the third part of your worksheet will be coming back to these type of problems, and it's going to ask you to go ahead and graph them as well. So even real world problems, guys, they're not that hard to graph. So let's say on this one right here, it costs more than $6 to ride the train. We wrote our inequality. Then if we have to graph, remember, this is 6, 7, 5. It's not underlined, therefore I circle anything greater than 6. And then all I have to do is darken. Don't forget that arrow, guys, because I will take off points. And it doesn't have to be a perfect arrow, but just enough that you tell me it's going in that direction, right? A motorbike weighs at least 400 pounds. So here we go. Term in the middle, 400, 500. And remember, I said you can use any values. You want to go, 400, 401, 399, that's okay. Since we're talking about hundreds, I'm going to go by hundreds. Now it includes 400. So therefore, I have to darken 400. Anything greater than 400, that's a possibility. In other words, what this means, guys, that the motorbike can weigh anything above 400, including 400 pounds. And then the last one, a child must be maximum 12 years old for the discount. Number line, 12, 13, 11. It includes 12. Darken. And then anything less than 12 in order to qualify for a discount. So shade everything to the left. And don't forget the arrow. Now, if you don't put the arrow, guys, the reason I emphasize on darkening the arrow, if you only shade this way and you stop at the number line, basically you're saying the limit is from 12 up to that point where you shaded. But the arrow says go to the left. Obviously, in a real world issue, we're not going to go into negatives with kids' ages, right? So anybody below 12 from, that age below 12 would qualify for the discount, but we're not talking about negatives. So just be reasonable with it, right? So I hope that this lesson was very easy. Just pay attention to how I did the lesson. Make sure the most important thing that you understand your terms. What kind of words will you hear? Above, below, no more than, at least, minimum, maximum, and at most. So inshallah you'll find the assignment is easy and that this was an easy lesson as well. Assalamu alaikum.